Hi, well, my name's Ray Whitby, and I'm the General Manager here for Hope Woodwork. So that means that I'm generally responsible for everything except some of the financial decisions. Okay, Hope Woodwork is a project that fits within Kingdom Way Trust, whilst the rest of the charity predominantly looks at supporting individuals that may be from the street community or from the homeless community and trying to establish them in supported accommodation all the way through to independence. There was a niche where we felt we could help train individuals, adults, men and women, coming through the system to give them some equipping, some skill sets, a place to go to do something meaningful. I mean, a lot of our client base may deal with addiction and recovery, and part of that challenge, part of the journey really is to help give them something to do on a regular basis each week. So Hope Woodwork itself exists then in forms of carpentry and woodworking. So we are a training outfit predominantly that can bring these men and women in of all ages, as long as they're adults, and we can then help run them through a very modular course, starting with hand tools in woodworking skills, very basic low-hanging fruit. Then we can introduce the complexity as we go along. They're working alongside a team of wonderful supervisors who may or may not have experience in carpentry. It never was a big issue that way. We can always provide training. But the idea was that they had a passion for individuals, so that those that are coming through the door, they would have a friend, somebody that would listen to them. And the idea has just been that if we can get them through the door on a regular basis, we can build up that rapport with the individual, and hopefully they'll keep coming back. And that journey can then continue uninterrupted, we hope, for many years, depending on the individual's journey through life. Of course, things change, but the modular course will take them so far. It could be 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Then after that, we can look at how the individual's responding, what they want to do in life, whether that involves woodwork or not, doesn't really matter, but it's just that getting them in, doing something on a regular basis. And they do seem to really enjoy working with wood in the whole, otherwise they wouldn't come through the door in the first place. So that kind of gives the journey of the individual. But through that, of course, we're also equipping them with soft skills as well. So it'd be things like the ability to turn up on time, more or less on time, and then to get them through the door. And that's quite a significant challenge at times. I've had grown men, burly men that have been through prison, and they're outside phoning me saying they're having a crisis because they cannot make it through the threshold. So I have to go outside, obviously not hold them by the hand, but it is to calm them down and bring them in. So the only stress that they bring is their own. We don't provide any time pressures here. So if the course may take a year, 2 years, that's absolutely fine with us. The longer they stay, the remarkable the recovery is. We do see it quite rapidly at the beginning, but for the longer that they stay with us, obviously we can deepen that relationship, and then we can just see the individual really cementing themselves with, obviously, the hope that's built into the name of the project, but also for all those softer skills that we're seeing as well. So yes, they can come through the door, interacting in a small team, the ability to take on health and safety responsibility of themselves, and we can help them to think about how they can do that for others. So when they go from the beginner's course, which is purely hand tools, they go on to the intermediate course, we start introducing them to the bigger machines. That's where there's a lot more health and safety involvement because they are unrelenting, the machines, not the individuals. So we have to be very, very careful with them. And they learn respect and responsibilities that way. They can be responsible for themselves, but also others. Machine maintenance is another good one, just to keep the place tidy, the machines working as well. So there's lots of different things that we can get out of the individual, and they don't even realize it. But working with them over months and years, as I say, that what we see is that stability, so we can implant not just the hope, but value, meaning and purpose into their lives. So for example, we had one guy who couldn't look you in the eye, would barely talk to you, certainly couldn't eat in front of you, and he would fly off the handle if he got anything wrong. Now, not in a dangerous way, but he would stamp his feet a little bit and storm out. But thanks to the volunteers that we have here, we're able to get alongside him, coach him, come in, bring him back in. He stayed with us for 4 years, and at the end of it, he even became a supervisor himself. He's now gone on and done some amazing things out there in general maintenance, but using a lot of the skills and the health and safety training. And he didn't realize the journey was on. He can now hold a conversation. He can take a joke. These are simple things that most of us take for granted, but it's just wonderful to see somebody building confidence over that. The problem he had, he has said, for all of his life up until he came here, he was told every day he was useless, whether at school or at home, his so-called friends. But that's all he was told. You're useless, you're useless, you're useless. As soon as they walk in through the door, that very first project that they do, low-hanging fruit, and then you can see there, you can show people what you're capable of. And then the journey just begins to see how that flourishes and see the fruit of their labor. So we try and keep examples of everything that they produce here, just so they can keep a photographic record. And then it's that constant reminder, you can do it. And what, of course, when they come across the difficult parts, to bring them back and say, well, actually, this is what you can do. It's just stepping stones. You started off with no knowledge, no skills, or very little skills, and your reaction to stress was quite extreme. But now, a month later, 6 months later, a couple of years later, your reactions to stress and your approach to dealing with issues is far, far different, much stronger, much better, more healthy as well. So looking at mental health improvements is dramatic.